Hi there, and welcome again for a new daily ASMR video. This time, a historical video with historical facts. And again, let's travel back in time in the historical Kievan Rus era where traders, warriors built their first Slavic kingdom. Well, maybe take a deep breath and let's drift slowly into the story of the Kievan Rus. This is a map of Kievan Rus and its neighbor, ring people and principalities around 11 to 12th century. So 11 to 12th century. Let's go over what we are seeing here and then explain how these early state and principalities evolved and became Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. First, Kievan Rus was a federation of East Slavic and Finno-Ugric tribes. So, East Slavic and Finno-Ugric tribes. Well, ruled by the Varangians, Vikings. Very important Vikings under Rurikid dynasty from 9th to 13th centuries. Its name came from Kiev, the most powerful city and political center. Kiev. Founded around 862 traditional date Rurik rules in Novgorod. The peak of Kievan Rus was between 980 and 1130 AD. The religion at the beginning was pagan. At the beginning, until 988. After that, Prince Vladimir the Great converted to Eastern Orthodox Christianity. Eastern Orthodox Christianity. Well, on the map we have a lot of principality, but like I said, what happens in the 9th century, after 9th century, is that Rurik dynasty united the Slavic and Finnic tribes around Novgorod, and later under Oleg and Vladimir the Great, the center of power moved in south to Kiev. Why they converted from pagan to Eastern Orthodox Christianity, this happened in 988. Vladimir adopted Eastern Orthodox Christianity from Byzantium, shaping the spiritual and cultural foundation of the region. And during the 11th century, under Yaroslav, Kievan Rus reached its height, a prosperous, literate, and diplomatically correct, connected federations with a lot of trade routes. So, under the Yaroslav, it has its peak 11th century. However, after Yaroslav's death, the federation fragmented into competing principalities such as Kiev, Novgorod, Plototsk, Smolensk, Chernigov. These feudal divisions, combined with nomadic invasions from Pechenegs, Cumans, and Kazans, and later Mongols, weakened the central authority. The final blow came from Mongols. Invasion in 1237 until 1240, which destroyed Kiev and placed most of Rus lands under Mongol rule, the Golden Horde. While southern and western Rus lands like Kiev, for example Volhynia, came under Lithuanian and Polish influence, the northern principalities like Rostov-Suzdal and Novgorod gradually regained power, among them a small town of Moscow. A small town of Moscow. Founded in 1147. This small town rose steadily under the rule of the Rurikid princes. Its favorable location, strong leadership under Ivan I and Ivan III, and close cooperation with Orthodox Church from Byzantium helped Moscow unite surrounding clans and overthrow Mongol rule. By the 15th century, the Grand Duchy of Moscow had become the leading Rus state, and in 1547, Ivan IV or Ivan the Terrible declared himself Tsar of all Rus lands, making the birth of the Russian state. Over following centuries, Moscow expanded eastward, and southward, inheriting the cultural and religious legacy of the Kievan Rus and transforming it into the foundation of the Russian Empire. Good. Now let's have a look over the principalities. So let's back in time in the 12th centuries, and let's have a look of the principalities. First, we start with the center of the cultural center of trade, diplomacy, the Principality of Kiev, political and religious center ruled by Grand Prince Vladimir and Yaroslav it has been the most powerful Rus state from all. In the north, Novgorod, the largest one. It was northern trade hub, making trade with Finns, Estonians, and as well with Volga, Bulgaria. Next, Smolensk, this principality of Smolensk, was an important trading port on the Dnieper and strategic between Kiev and Novgorod. All the trade routes to Novgorod crossed on the Smolensk territory. Good. Next, Chernigov nearby, one of the richest and most powerful cities around Kiev, Chernigov. Well, Chernigov was very rich and it was a trade hub in metal trading. Good. Pereslav, well, guarded the southern frontier from steppe nomads to Pechenegs and Cumans. Okay, next. Let's see. Rostov-Suzdal. Rostov-Suzdal was early core of what will become later Moscow. Murom Ryazan was most eastern frontier mixed with Slavic and Finno-Ugric population. Okay. Volhynia was the western frontier and gailing to Poland and Central Europe. Okay. And in the south there was the Halych or Galicia, principality of Halych or Galicia. It was a western principality who evolved into the kingdom of Galicia and Volhynia, later part of Ukraine and Poland. Well, principality of Halych is currently on the modern day Ukraine. Why Kievan Rus had its decline? Well, first, feudal fragmentation, local princes gained independence over the Kiev, shifting trade routes and steppe invasions by the Pechenegs mostly, and the Cumans and later the Mongols. Finally, the Mongol invasion destroyed Kiev and subjugated most of the Rus under the Golden Horde. Formation of Russia. Well, the formation of Russia started in 19th century. Rurik established rule in Novgorod, the birth of the Rurik dynasty. From 10th to 11th century, expansion to Kiev, conversion to Christianity, the golden age of Kievan Rus, 12th to 13th century, the Rus breaks into rival principalities like here, a political fragmentation. In the 13th century, Mongol invasion destroyed Kievan Rus and fall under the Golden Horde. That of Moscow was formed, begins on uniting only the northern principalities because the southern were under Mongol control. This led to the rise of Moscow as successor of the Kievan Rus. In the 15th and 16th century, Ivan III and the Fourth consolidate power. Formation of the centralized Russian states in 1547. Meanwhile, the western and southern lands, Kiev, Halich, Volhynia, came under Lithuania and Poland, and basis for the modern Ukraine and Belarus. In conclusion, Kievan Rus was the cultural and spiritual ancestor of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. The Orthodox faith, Cyrillic alphabet, and Slavic identity all originated here in the Kievan Rus. And that was the story of the Kievan Rus principalities, from the Varangians to the north to the golden domes of Kiev, and the rise of Moscow Principality and the heart of Russia. Thank you for joining me today, and of course now at the end, sleep well, and may your dreams wander through the ancient lands. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I